everyone, and welcome to our new Power Up podcast series for visionary entrepreneurs and business owners who want to make a big difference in the world. We're going to talk about the power of your decisions today. And if we haven't met yet, I'm Melanie Benson-Strick. I'm known as a profit strategist for entrepreneurs and small business owners. And my whole job here is to help you optimize your business so you can make more money and make a greater impact. And every week I interview someone who I really just think is, great out there in the business world, who has a strategy or a tip to help you power up your business from the inside out. And today I want to introduce you to my longtime friend, really good friend, Jim Palmer. He's one of my special people in my life who I've just known for years and years and years. And Jim is a marketing and business building expert, host of Newsletter Guru TV and Stick Like Glue Radio, and is also the founder of Dream Business Academy and the Dream Business Coaching and Mastermind Program. And recently, he re-released a very powerful book that he wrote called Decide, the Ultimate Success Trigger, which actually, and I was very, very honored, features some of my coaching around mindset and peak performance. And I just thought it would be really cool to bring Jim on today and talk about decisions and how these decisions can either make or break your success and your ability to build what we like to call a lifestyle business that's really supporting your dreams and goals. So, hey, Jim.
Hey, Mel, how are you?
Good. Good. Been out on the boat lately? Oh, it's winter. I'm sorry.
Dagger through the heart.
You lived out here in California. It could be a year-long experience.
I hear you. And months like this, I am seriously considering it.
For those of you that don't know Jim loves being out on the water with his boat, and it's been a big part of his own lifestyle. So, and being able to create a business that supports that's been fun to watch you build over the years. So someday I will get there at the right time of year and I can be on the boat with you.
You have an open invite, Mel. Whenever you're anywhere near here, you just let me know.
Yeah, maybe you should just figure out how to drive it down the entire coast from where you live to where I live.
Well, gas is dropping quite a bit lately, so maybe that's realistic. I don't know.
Jim, you and I have both been in business a really, really long time. And, what was it, like probably year 14, you decided to write this book. The power of Decide, the Ultimate Success Trigger, and the power of how decisions can transform a business. I would love it if you would just talk a little bit about your own journey and what got you to the point where you knew you had to write this book.
Well, it's number 6, okay? And all the 5 previous books were all kind of strategy, marketing, business building stuff, tips, all the stuff we love to talk about and blog about. And but then, as you know, and a lot because of some of your pushing and prodding, about 3 years ago, I started doing my own live events, as you mentioned, Dream Business Academy. And one of the segments in there is I really talk about the inner game, right? The stuff that you have personally helped me with for so many years. And what I tell people is you could be the best at anything. I mean, you can be the most skilled doctor, accountant, lawyer, copywriter, sewer of quilts, whatever it is, the best at anything. And unless you have the right mindset, you're not going to achieve success. And so I started telling the story about my own journey and how I had so many hangups and, things like the imposter syndrome, which I didn't even know it was a name until I started looking into it, and all these different things that were holding me back. And at the end of that module, it was about an hour, Melanie. I really needed a break after sharing that much in depth on a really personal level. People started coming to me and said, you ought to write, that ought to be your next book. And after 5 books, I didn't really think I was going to write another one because it's exhausting. Yeah. And but people started saying, you got to tell a bigger story than just the people that come to your event. So I decided to write that book. I started putting some chapters together. And, like yourself, I do a lot of interviews. And at one point, one of the interviewers was asking me a question, and it was, what's the one? And automatically I'm ready for what's the one thing people should do. There's that question you always get. And he goes, what's the one word that you would think most signifies or separates very successful people from everybody else in the entrepreneurial space? And I said, it's the word decide. And he goes, well, that's interesting. Why is that? And I said, because highly successful people They just have an ability to look at a situation, a challenge, an opportunity, whatever, and then very quickly ascertain the facts, pluses or minuses, yes or no, but make a decision, right? Yes or no, and move forward with either one. But the third option, which is the worst option, is I'm going to think about it.
Mm.
Because this we know, very, very successful people who have rapidly growing businesses, they thrive on momentum, constantly moving forward at an ever expanding rate. And indecision is like an anchor. To use my boat terminology, it's like trying to get up on plane while you're dragging five anchors behind you. Indecision is a business killer in my view. So the ability to decide is really, really important.
I love that you wrote this book because I've always, since the very beginning, realized that decisions have so much weight on what we do next, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the decision precedes action. And if you haven't really made a decision, you're really not going to get into action. But what we decide also heavily influences our, whether or not we're accomplishing our goals and we're achieving the results that we say we want. What would you say is the biggest challenge a entrepreneur or business owner has about making the best decisions for their business?
Well, Hmm. I'll pick one just for time, but I think it's going to come down to lack of confidence, which could
Mhm.
be fear based or whatever. When people are starting out, I don't know what the stats are. Let's just say 90% or more of entrepreneurs that are starting out are probably bootstrapping. And I don't think anybody starts with this humongous pile of cash. Oh, I can do this. If it doesn't work out, I'll just get some more out of the drawer. So
Right.
from a bootstrapping standpoint, most entrepreneurs, they don't want to take that leap or make that spend or invest or whatever it looks like unless they're really, 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 really sure it's going to work out. And that's never the case. It's not the case on small items like what accounting software to buy, or it's not the case on big items. Should I go spend $10,000 on this program or 25,000 with a coach? Whatever it is, there is no perfect time. If you're like waiting for the stars to line up and the clouds to part and just like, yes, now move. That really never happens. And
Yeah.
that really is the indecision that I'm talking about. You could have a question like, should I paint my office yellow or black? Well, no, go with yellow. So, there's easy decisions, but there's also hard decisions. Should I hire somebody now? Should I expand? Should I expand another product line? Should I raise my prices? There's all these different things. And constantly thinking about it and just trying to find your way through, that is like moving at a snail's pace. And successful businesses are used, as I say, they're fast paced.
Yeah, that's true. And, I think one of the big challenges that a lot of people face is how do I make a fast decision with limited information, right? What's your strategy for that? You don't know enough. You don't know enough, but you have to make a decision and you're scared you're going to make the wrong one. What do you do?
Well, there's a lot of people who post things, Facebook and other places, that says successful people are comfortable with failure. Now, nobody likes failure,
Yeah.
but once you recognize failure, and again, a very, very inexpensive version of failure is way back when I started, my accountant told me to go buy QuickBooks. We're going to set you up on QuickBooks. I saw in Staples, I saw QuickBooks and I saw Quicken, and Quicken was like $75 less. So I bought that. And then I tried to install it. He said it's completely wrong. Well, of course, I couldn't return it. So that was a
Right.
$75 mistake, right?
Yes.
But guess what? It didn't kill me. I moved forward. I learned from it. So, a lot of people think that if you're moving really quickly, you're bound to make more mistakes. And I guess that might be true. But if you're growing and things are moving forward, you can absorb the occasional punch to the gut, if you want to think of it like that, and you'll keep moving. The other thing is the more decisions you make, like anything else, I think the better off you get it. And one of the things I think that people learn as their confidence grows and they get more successful, maybe they get their nose above water. Okay, now I can make payroll. Now I can do this. There's certain points where success breeds confidence. And then that is where you're okay knowing I can absorb a mistake or two.
Hmm.
But you also get good at making judgments. I've learned to trust my gut. People call it whatever they want, spirit, gut, intuition, whatever. But 99% of the time, I've learned that when I get a really good feeling, like I almost feel light, my chest feels full, okay, I'm on the right track. But if I feel like all this consternation, like it sounds really good. They say I don't have to do anything and I'll get 50% of a big pot, but something's telling me it's not right. I usually go with that gut feeling.
Yeah. I'm thinking about something, and you're talking about that fear of making a mistake. I think a lot of people they get into that paralyzed state. They don't make a decision. They don't take action because they're so afraid of what might happen. So yes, sometimes we make the bad thing that might happen bigger than the good things that might happen. But I think something very real for people is they're really trying to deal with limited amounts of money, right? They've got only so much money, and they start thinking to themselves, I can't afford for this not to work.
Right.
And yet, being able to invest to grow is the thing that I think oftentimes separates the massively successful from everybody that's stuck in struggle. Let's give our listener a little bit of advice if they find themselves in this place where I don't have the money to grow, but I got to find the money if I want to grow.
You know, so you've been to my event. You spoke at my
Yes.
event. You're a huge hit. So
Coming back again this year
I
to
know.
raise.
I was like, oh, should I ask her again? I don't want her to be obligated as a friend, but
No,
no.
I love
Like,
it
we
though.
both
I
love
love
you.
it.
So one of the things I look at entrepreneurship this way, especially as it relates to money and your ability to risk, because entrepreneurship is risk. If you think of it in the financial terms, I think there's three types of entrepreneurs. There's a savings account entrepreneur, there's a stock market entrepreneur, and there's a casino entrepreneur. So your savings account entrepreneur, that is the one who is most risk averse. So if you had $10,000, you're going to put it in the savings and loan right at the corner of your hometown. It's guaranteed not to go anywhere. You go back there in 10 years, your $10,000 will guaranteed to be there. But because it's so guaranteed and so secure, the big return you're going to get is going to be about $1.26 interest, right? A stock market entrepreneur is somebody who's willing to play a little bit more, maybe a little bit risk, like especially in the last week or so, the stock market's up and down. So people might be losing a little bit of principal, but you're really not going to lose everything unless the whole thing goes kaflooey. But because there's more risk involved, there's a bigger reward. So, if you look at any 10-year period in our history, you can probably make at least 5%, maybe even 10 if you really know what you're doing. A casino entrepreneur is somebody who so believes in what they're doing. I mean, in their heart, mind, and their soul, and every fiber of their being, they know, this is a winner, and I'm going to push the chips into the middle of the table and bet big on myself to win. And so there's a huge risk, right? Sometimes when you're pushing all your chips in, but there's also the benefit of the reward. One of the people I talk about who is a casino entrepreneur is like Fred Smith, who started Federal Express. He so believes in his overnight delivery package system that he didn't start out with a used Cessna and just fly it around the state of Tennessee or around Nashville or Arkansas, Kentucky. He invested in multiple DC-9 jets, pilot and co-pilot, ground crews, delivery vans. He put it all out there, lost millions and millions and millions of dollars over the first year or two until it finally caught momentum. Most people have no stomach for that. So a lot of success. And here's the thing. If you look at highly successful people, like people that have achieved a lot, the one thing they do not lack is confidence. Some people call it hubris or arrogance, but they know they're on the right track and nothing's going to stop them. And who you are right now has a lot to do with how fast you're going to grow. But I will tell you this, and I said in the book, Melanie's been my personal mindset coach for years, and she has really helped me. So wherever you are now doesn't mean that's where you have to stay. There are things you can do to get your mindset in gear so that you are a little more friendly and open to risk, because that's where the reward comes from.
Yeah. And there's so many elements of the decision process that really help you build that confidence. But one thing that I think it's like a pivot point, and that is until you are 100% in and you have made the decision that you're all in, your fears and your lack of confidence and all that other stuff will become so big to you that you'll let fear dictate what you will or will not do. Instead of being
That's
so
right.
committed to whatever that thing is, like it's like I'm all in. So this has, like I have to do whatever it takes to make it work at this point. That allows you to access a level of resourcefulness you can't access any other way. Like then you're going to hire the coach. Then well, I gotta buy this because I'm all in, right? So it's just
Yeah.
like a pivot.
You know what else, Melanie, is I learned that when there's something I want and I'm not willing to get out of my own way, I need to really personalize that challenge to
Yeah.
have it taken off of me. So there's like I'll give you an example. When I was struggling, I was struggling being a speaker. I didn't want to go out and give speeches. And, I certainly didn't want to do my own live events. I wasn't crazy about writing books, as God forbid the mistake people. Whoa, look at Jimmy, thinks he's an author. He can't write words. All the stuff that goes on. And at that point, when I was kind of in that transition, I think time frame might have been 2007, 8, or something like that. My girls, I have twin girls, they both wanted to go to college, and it has always been our dream to help them go to college. And man, for so long, we were like, couldn't even afford a pizza, right? And so that was holding me back. And then there were other things like, at that point, I was probably 45, 46, and I don't have a lot of money in retirement. Well, guess what? I don't want to be opening the door at Walmart when I'm 90. So I got to provide for retirement. And my girls, I wanted to help with their weddings. So I said, you know what? I cannot let my own fears, I might be okay internally being a little limited, even though I know could accomplish more, but my not accomplishing more is hurting my girls, hurting my kids. And when I personalized it, I said, damn it, I'm going to kick these things to the curb, every one of them. And that's the course I went out on.
Yeah, it's almost like the stakes are higher than you alone. And it's really easy when it's just about us, for many of us, to kind of fall prey to that comfort zone and play smaller than we need to. But if the stakes are higher than just you, whether it's your work, the thing that you do in the world, like the impact, like you have to make a greater impact. It's not okay for you to keep this small. Or your children, as Jim was just talking about, or even your future, financial well-being. It's true. Like when you think of it to that scale, and I'll just say one of my motivators, even, yes, financial security for the future is important, but for me, like, I love to enjoy nice trips. And to me, that's one of my big motivators. Like, yeah, I could play it small and be all cozy, or I could really step up into this.
Not going on trips, I imagine, is not part of what you want your life to look like.
Exactly. And I don't want to go stay in the Motel 6 either. I mean, nothing wrong with Motel 6, but I kind of like the Four Seasons, right?
Yeah.
So, that's, when you're really clear on your values and what's important to you, you make better decisions for what you're going to put your energy in. What if achieving higher levels of success was more about changing your thoughts than it was about changing your strategies? Hi, it's Melanie Benson-Strick, and I've got a quick resource for you. I want to give you a free copy of my new book, Rewired for Wealth. And inside this book, I'm going to teach you what I personally learned about how my thoughts were either sabotaging or setting me up to create success and put it on autopilot. Now, this book is free for a limited time. You can grab it now at rewiredforwealth.com. Now, let's get back to our program.
Melanie, there's something in the book I said, because a lot of people think an entrepreneur is made up of, a skill, a talent, your drive, your work ethic, your moral compass, and your mindset, and you stir it all up, and that's who you are. I think your skill, your talent, your work ethic, your drive, your ambition, all that's the engine, that's the machine that is your business. Your mindset is the fuel. So again, all these other things, I'm a hard worker, I've got hustle, I've got this, I've got passion, I can add numbers better than anybody, but unless you've got the right mindset, you're not going to achieve all that you can achieve. So the mindset, again, I think you and I have seen it's just bantered about a little too loosely, like, oh, mindset, get a good success mindset, but it's really more than that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the fuel. I'd love to kind of pull the curtains back a little bit on Jim Palmer and your business, because we're talking about something that is so critical, our mindset and our ability to build a dream business. But, it's not always been that way for either one of us, for that matter. What was like the turning point for you when you really knew like you had to up your game and, make things happen? And how did you go about doing that?
So there were two major turning points. The first, so I started in October 2001, and then around the end of 2005, so about 5 years into it, I was doing multiple six-figure business, but I was getting completely burned out, because even though I had my business cards were nice and glossy, it said president of my own corporation, I was the bum, the only employee of this corporation. And so I was doing everything. I'm sure there's a lot of people there now. I was writing, designing newsletters, overseeing printing and mailing, answering the phone, anything. If it had to be done, it was me. And then Stephanie said, and it's been like 5 years, we haven't done anything. And the thought of going away frightened me to the point, not because of money, but because my business will cease to exist if I'm not there. And I knew that I had to, so I transitioned from my previous life and unemployment and all that to the business. But then I said, I got to transition again because I don't just want money. I want to have a life. So that's when I started learning about leverage and going to different seminars where you and I first met. You were big on leverage and team and outsourcing and things like that. And that's when I started growing. And I grew to a point where in 2000, say 8 or 9, somewhere on that time frame, I had done okay and even had a couple businesses at that point, but I still plateaued again. And that's when the mindset stuff kicked in. What I describe in the book, so people might have it a little differently, I describe it, Melanie, as a 3 a.m. holy crap moment. So
Yes.
at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm laying in bed, it's pitch dark, my eyes are open, I'm looking up and I'm going, holy crap, I haven't paid myself in like a month. Holy crap, I have a new client in 6 months. Holy crap. And you can go through all these holy craps. And the kicker for me, again, I personalized it with my daughters, but I finally had to say to myself, and I suggest people actually look in the bathroom mirror and go, you're the reason that I'm not growing. And you and I had a conversation once. I can't remember the exact time frame, but you knew that I wanted to, I started getting into coaching, started very, very small. But at some point I was looking, I looked at you as a role model, Adam Urbanski, our mutual friend, as a role model, and some others. And at one point you said to me, what makes you think you're going to achieve the same level of success without doing some of the things you see these other people doing? And that was such a bitch slap moment. Pardon my French. It was like,
I'm kind of known for those.
yeah, but it was such an eye opener. And so that's when I really got in gear. And I describe in the book a lot of things I did. I mean, I was deathly afraid of public speaking and all these other things. And I did everything I could, and it works. I can get on a stage in front of a few hundred people, whatever now.
With a cape.
Pardon me?
With a cape.
With a cape, yeah. Or my friend's funeral with like 400 people there. I mean, I got the courage to do that because I set about a plan to make it happen. And so many things, doing my own live events and things like that. But, you finally come to terms with, and this is a phrase that I use all the time, if you're finally willing to say slow to no growth is no longer an acceptable option, what are you going to do about it? And so that was the big thing for me. That was the turning point.
Well said. And it's funny, when you have so much history with somebody and you hear them tell their story, you're like, oh, yeah, I remember when he started doing that. I remember when that changed. I remember that conversation. Although I don't remember the bitch slap conversation, but I can that.
You're so nice. You don't even know you're doing it.
I coat my wand with sugar and then I smack you with it.
Yeah. You're not even aware of it. But listen, the serious message there is the people who are paying to get coached, if they really take their coach's advice, that's maybe how I process it, even if you were just being matter of fact. You know what I mean? But that was my moment. That was one of them.
I think we're bringing up something really important that we should talk about as part of the decision process. And that it's the decision to be in a relationship with a powerful coach or mentor who will help you make better decisions. Because the truth is that many of us, we are immersed in our own version of our reality, which is not the truth. It's not the way it has to be. And the only way to break through that barrier that really becomes a barrier for so many entrepreneurs and business owners is when you can see, when someone else can see possibility for you that you can't see for yourself. Somebody explained it the other day that they said their coach said to them, can you see your eyebrows right now? And they said, no. They're like, I can. I was like, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. You need somebody to see sometimes what's obvious, but also what's possible. And so, Jim, maybe you can share with us just for a minute, like, what do you tell people to look for in a coach or mentor to make sure they're getting the best one for them?
It's interesting. I had this just about an hour ago. I was doing an interview and said, but what about coaches, blah, blah, blah. So, what's annoyed me, and I'm a very positive person, so I hated actually approaching the answer this way from a slightly negative, but there's so many people out there that are saying they're coaches, life coach, et cetera, and they're 19 and they're going to show people how to grow $1 million business, or if you're 40 and you say you're going to do that. I think you should look for somebody who's got an actual track record, somebody who has accomplished and done what they will teach. Mm-hmm. Because it's so easy to go to seminars, read books, courses, CDs, DVDs, whatever, and take in a lot of good stuff, maybe even slightly twist it, put your own spin on it, regurgitate what is very good information. But when you get working with a coach and your business grows, you don't want somebody that's going to have to go back and look at a book or just guess, right? So, for me, it's like if you want to work with somebody who's an awesome brander and helps create positioning and has created multiple streams of revenue and things like that, well, I've got a track record in that. There's other coaches have other specialties and things like that. So look for someone who has a track record. The other thing I think is really important, and this is what I think separates really great coaches from good ones, is they have the temerity to tell it like it is, like you do, right? The bitch slap moment. And, I call it, tough love when one of my clients will be, oh, I'm going to do this. And I said, I'm not so sure that's a good idea, and I said, can I have permission to speak candidly? I always kind of do it that. And then they know what's coming and they'll tell them exactly why I think that's not a good idea. It's always their decision. But, you need somebody who's not just a cheerleader. You need somebody who's saying, my God, you're about 2 feet from a cliff. Please go right. You know what I mean? Even if it hurts them.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And I always tell people too, don't hire anybody to coach you who you don't want to be like them. Mm-hmm. Because the truth is, whether it's the success they've accomplished or the type of person they are when they accomplish it, most people kind of coach and mentor you to follow their models. So pick somebody that you actually respect. You respect the results and you respect how they got there and that you'd like to emulate that on some level. Yeah, I think be exactly the same,
but I think that's a good word. I think it's really important to check out who they are as a person too. I mean, you can get some good business advice and have nothing in common with them and things like that, but you do end up spending a lot of time together, and it's nice to know that maybe some of your values are on the same page.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm really, me, I'm so big on values, and I do think that when you share values, you oftentimes will share a lot of the same goals and dreams too. So Jim, let's tell everybody, I have one more question for you, but I would love to just give everybody the location for where they can get a copy of Decide. And I have to say before you do that this is one of those books I wish I had written, even though I do have a lot of my nuggets of wisdom featured in there, because Jim was gracious to share, my advice along the way to the readers. It's actually a great book. And I have to say that there is something that if you read no other book this year, really like owning that decision process and making the commitment to decide and learning how to make that work in your business, it's powerful. It's a great motivator. So, Jim, let's give them the URL for where they can find their book. And we will have this, you can also see it right up here on the screen as well.
It is decideforsuccessbook.com, decide, F-O-R, successbook.com. And you will get a mailed copy. It's not a PDF download. I will mail you a copy of the book for free. I will not charge you, what is this, $19.95. The only thing I'll ask you to do is cover $6.95 for shipping and handling, but I will mail you a copy for free for $6.95, and we'll mail an actual nice book and at decideforsuccessbook.com.
Yeah. And when they get the book, do they find out about the Build Your Dream Business events that you host?
Yeah, there's some information there on the About Me page, but if people are interested in that, that is dreambizacademy.com, dreambizacademy.com, and that is May 4th, 5th, and 6th. In beautiful San Diego, right on a marina. So
yeah, and if for some reason you're listening to this later, just know Jim has these once in a while, so you might check the calendar and see if there's one if you're listening to this down the road. But I have to tell you, I've been to a million events over the years. I've hosted my own events. There's something really special about the event, the Dream Business Academy, and what happens in that room, and how this group of really excited, visionary, creative, passionate entrepreneurs, what happens when they leave? I'm just blown away every time. And I'm very excited to be back again for this next one to talk about mindset and really help people create the breakthrough on the inside to be able to get the results on the outside. But it is a powerful event. You will not leave unchanged. I mean, you will leave changed. How was I going to say that? I was going to say you will not leave unchanged. That was a double negative.
It could be the most. It will be a life-changing event, and I should say, because you and I both go to a lot of events, this is not a pitch event. So I don't put up speakers every hour, and then they tell their rags to riches story. I was born under a bridge, now I'm a multimillionaire. Get my course, and you can too.
I was going to do that this year.
Well, I'm going to take your name off the website. No, it's a pitch-free zone. It is 100% content. There's hot seats, but the cool thing about it that is I just find so gratifying is everybody, half the people that come continue to come back, so that audience grows, and then they bring new people, and there's like, hey, when's the next reunions? That's what we were hearing at the last event.
Yeah.
And it is impactful. You're going to learn a ton of stuff, and you'll make some really cool friends there too.
Are you bringing the fear shredder again?
I am bringing the fear shredder.
That was awesome. I'm not even going to tell you what it is, but if you go, you will find out how powerful the fear shredder is.
I did that for fun, but I cannot believe how many people thank me for doing that. Very cool.
I loved it. So, Jim, let's wrap up with something. And, I think a lot of people who are building a business encounter that phase where, and you mentioned this earlier, you're trying so hard, you're working really hard, you're doing so much, you've been grinding it out, as a lot of people like to say. And then you're just like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I'm really hitting a wall, or your fear takes over, whatever that gets in your way. But there comes a place where every entrepreneur I know starts to move into some form of doubt. What's your advice you'd give to someone if they've hit that place where they just don't know if they can keep going and they're considering giving up?
You need to get out of your office, get out from behind your monitor, and go meet with some smart people who are making it happen. Because, I mean, these last, and this is not a political statement, but for the last 5 to 8 years have been some of the hardest and most challenging for small business owners. And there are several people, including myself, who are doing very well. So it's not the economy. You can't use that as a crutch. A lot of times it's just one or two things. You got to find the right positioning is often a very big one. That's what we focus in on a lot. That's what we do at Dream Business Academy. We'll do hot seats. We'll figure out what is the one thing that's missing from what you're doing. And believe me, you are far too close to your business to see it, right? And then when you make that leap or you make that twist, everything else starts to unfold. You're starting to see things that were there all the time, but you were just a little bit blind to them. So don't give up, man. Don't give up. There's something missing, but if you can't figure it out, if you want your dream business hard enough and enough, you need to get some help and get to the next level. Yeah. Don't give up.
And by the way, Jim has a book for that too. It's called "It's Okay to Be Scared and Don't Give Up." Yeah. He's got a book for every entrepreneurial. Jim, thanks so much for being here. I can't wait to see you in May. And,
a lot of fun.
Yes, and great advice. And so as you're listening in today, I know that you are going to get so much value out of the Decide book. I hope you'll go pick up a copy right now. The URL's right below here again, and devour it. It'll be hard to put it down, but really take it all in and let that be the fuel to help you achieve your dream business this year. So we'll see you all again next week for another really great interview coming your way. And I'd love to hear your shout out on what was an aha moment for you today. If you want to join us over on the show page at melaniebensonstrick.com. All right, we'll see you all soon. Thanks again, Jim. Bye.
Thanks, Melanie. Bye.